Hi, this is Should I Watch It? I'm Jason Cockroft.
And I'm Keirsty, and today we're going to help you decide whether you should watch Huntsman Winter's War.
We'll tell you some points about the film so you can decide for yourself.
And then we'll give you our scores and opinions at the end.
Unfortunately, Jack couldn't be with us today. He didn't manage to see the film in time. But we're lucky enough to have Keirsty with us today.
Yes, so what is the film about?
Basically, Huntsman Winter's War is the origin story of the Huntsman. It shows you how he got his skills, where he came from, and then works into a story where they have to get back the magic mirror from the first film before it gets into the hands of the Ice Queen.
Okay, so should I watch it?
I think you should watch this film if you liked the first film, Snow White and the Huntsman. I don't think it really misses Snow White. Not having her in it doesn't really take anything out of it.
No,
But it's got a similar style of story, but there's still enough in there that it's worth watching if you've seen the first one.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, I think if you didn't like the first one, you're probably not going to like this one either.
Yeah, agreed. So like this film has its own identity, like it's quite different in that way. So I think they've done a good job of making the films, it's based on the same thing, but the ideas are different, which is quite nice. I really liked, is it Kristen Stewart?
Yeah.
I really liked her in the first film, so at times I was sat there thinking, oh, I wonder if she's going to pop up whenever they sort of mention Snow White, but unfortunately she's not in the film. So if you were thinking she was going to appear in this one, don't know if that's a spoiler, then unfortunately, she's not in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of points in this one that sort of explain a bit about what things they mentioned in the first film, and kind of put it into a bit of context as well.
Yeah.
I also think this one as well, you should watch it if you liked the dwarfs from the first film, because they have some different dwarfs in this one.
Yeah.
But they add a bit of humour to the film and a bit of fun, because otherwise it's quite a serious film.
You're right, actually. It breaks it up a bit, actually, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With the humour. And there's not as many elves in this, but it brings lightness to it.
It does,
because, as you said, it can be quite dark at times.
Yeah, I think you should like this one as well if you like fantasy films. It's got the good sort of fantasy element that the first one had. And there's new creatures in this one, and you get to see the nice forest again, which is all the nice creatures in that kind of the sanctuary that they go to in the first film. That's in it again, so that's quite nice.
The whole magical, mystical element is definitely still in this one. So I thought it sort of reminded me of Pan's Labyrinth, The Hobbit in some ways. So sort of the landscapes and the whole mystical feeling of the creatures. So one point I'd probably add that's a little bit negative, if you're thinking of sort of taking younger children to the film, it is a 12A, but there's times where the scenes and the words they use between the characters for banter is a little bit risky. Sometimes
a lot of swearing.
A bit of swearing, which is funny because it's out of the blue and you don't really expect it, which is fine for, the adults that go to see the film, but not so great for the kids.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, completely agree. Okay, so on to ratings. What would you like to rate it?
I would probably give it a 7.8, which is very specific. It doesn't deserve a 7.5, which to me I feel is quite low. But then it doesn't deserve an 8 because I feel like that's probably a bit too high. But it definitely is worthy of a good score because I thought it was really good and definitely worth a cinema trip.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 7, so I'm going to give it a flat 7.0. I thought it was a good film and I did enjoy it. It wasn't as good as the first one in my opinion. And I think I probably gave the first one an 8, so I think a 7 is a fair comparison to me. But there's nothing to take away from the film. It is good, and as Kiss says, well, I agree, it is also a cinema trip for me as well.
Yeah.
It is good. It's visually very nice. So it's good to see it at cinema, and the sounds and things like that are quite good to have in the big screen. So
yeah, I don't know why, but it felt for me, I definitely would have rated the first film a lot higher than this one. I couldn't really pinpoint what it was, but I felt like there was something missing from this, and I don't know what it is.
I think for me, I think my biggest issue with it, why it wasn't as good as the first one, is mainly because I don't think it really built up to as much of a spectacle as the first one did.
Yeah, that's probably it, actually.
I think the first one kind of built up to something really big, whereas this one it doesn't as much. I think this one's got some better fight scenes in it, which is always good for me, because if you watch the previous videos, you'll know how much I love my fight scenes. There's some very good fights in this, as there was in the first one, but I think there's actually some better ones in this, so that's a good positive point for it. But I think it's, in terms of overall spectacle, it doesn't really grow as much. And even
Yeah.
even earlier in the film, some of the bits, like the actiony bits, they're not as big a spectacle as they were in the first one.
Yeah, I agree actually. Yeah, I agree.
There's a bit of a less of a sense of wonder in this one as well. Like in the first one, you've got the meeting of the really like amazing wise deer that's made out of white butterflies.
Yeah.
Like you don't have anything like that in this
Yeah.
one. You don't have anything to sort of awe at.
It's basically not as creative.
Yeah,
Because I would sort of say like the main climax of the film, it's just not as exciting as what the climax is in the first film.
agreed.
I'd also like to say that the main characters, for me mostly Charlize Theron and Emily Blunt, especially for me, I thought their performances were really, really, really good. I thought their characters were really deep and meaningful. I felt like Charlize Theron's character was explained more in this one than the first one. You just sort of got more of a sense of who she is.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think there's a lot of good characters in this. I think Charlize Theron was brilliant again, as always. And Emily Blunt was incredible. She was a lot better than I thought she would have been, because I wasn't sure if this was the right sort of role for her. But I thought she was great again. I'm a big fan of hers anyway. And her character was brilliant as well. Like, it was well written. She was a good, believable character. And the way she changes and how things happen throughout the story, it was a really decent part of the film.
Yeah, totally agree.
But overall, I think this film is just a lot of fun, really. There's some little bit of humour in there if you like that. The story isn't completely straightforward. There's a lot of surprises in there, and really, it was just a good fun film. And I say it was worth a cinema trip.
Yeah.
So although I only gave it a 7, it's definitely worth going to.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, guys. Please comment. It'd be nice to see what you have to say. Any suggestions as well? Anything you want us to watch? Please like, subscribe. Definitely subscribe.
Yeah, and we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. So please share us, get us out there. Subscribe as well to the YouTube channel to see more videos. And we'll be seeing you again soon.
Yeah.